Today, I'm joined by Landon Bozer, a local author from Bonnyville, and whose books are going to be making their way to Lloydminster. Can you talk to me a little bit about what your book series is about?
What we got going on here is we have four different books that are based around the different animals that live in Canada. So we'll take you from west to east. We'll start over on Vancouver Island. You know, Vancouver is one of the most unique habitats in the whole world, and it's a real hotspot for um, eco activity. So we think that that was a great place to start. And this was actually the first book that my wife and I wrote was the Vancouver Island edition, and largely because we lived out there for 2 years, and with all of the beautiful animals in nature, pretty easy place to get inspired. Then we have the Prairie edition, which features, we got all sorts of animals that you'll see in your own backyard here. We got a little groundhog. We got the rattlesnake that you might find around Calgary and southern Alberta. All sorts of cool critters. Then we have the East Coast edition for all of our Newfoundlander and Halifax friends that are out there. We know that there's plenty of East Coast people in the Lakeland, but we're not getting into the pictures on this one. You have to come down to chapters and check it out there. And last but certainly not least, we have the Northern Territories edition. And I think that's a pretty underserved part of the country. I actually spent some time in the Northwest Territories myself, and gosh, you want to talk about a beautiful place to live and play. It's definitely up there in the Northwest.
So, this book series is going to be featured at Kohl's at the Lloyd Mall. Can you talk to me about how that process all got set up?
So my wife and I, we started writing the first book about a year ago, and by the time we finished all four and got them illustrated into the product that you have now, we've had these ready and for sale since about January of this year. So they're still fairly new. About a month ago, I have a sales background. I've sold everything from fire hydrants to oil field valves in my career. So I picked up the phone and just kind of started at a few different chapters locations, starting some different dialogue. And the chapters location in Southgate, Edmonton, were very receptive to our book, and they gave us some really good feedback and information and featured our books very quickly. From there, we got our vendor number with Indigo, which gives us access to all of the different chapters and Kohl's locations that are available. And for my wife Grace and I, Chapters Lloydminster was a really easy choice as sort of the first place we wanted to branch out of after the Edmonton location, because it is the closest location that we have here in the Lakeland. So we've actually both bought plenty of books at that store in our life, so it's pretty cool that we'll be on the shelf there soon.
How has this whole process been for the both of you to have this book series be finally hitting store shelves?
It's a lot of fun, and it's really encouraging for us to see that a good Canadian, a product about Canadian animals or Canadian content, Canadiana, if you will, I do think it's always in demand. So to have gotten such positive feedback over a short period of time, it's really just encouraging us to try to be creative and maybe come up with more books, whether it's something um, central to the lakeland or if it's something maybe made around the oil field industry. We'd love the opportunity to work with somebody, a community group, or maybe another company that's looking to branch out in a little bit of a different direction, and maybe we could collaborate with somebody in the community on some other cool books.
All right, that covered everything that I had to say, Landon. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this.